Today, I will be talking about everything you need to know if you are visiting Malta, and more specifically to those who will be visiting for the first time. By the end of this episode, you'll know more about the food, culture, prices, budget, and the must-see sites. And I'll wrap it all up with some practical tips to make your trip as seamless as possible. Okay, so first things first. The Maltese Islands consist of three main islands: the main island of Malta, the quieter and greener island of Gozo, and the tiny island of Comino. The capital of Malta is Valletta, and it's a full-blown UNESCO World Heritage Site. Across the islands, you'll see a unique blend of Italian, British, and even Middle Eastern vibes in the architecture, the food, and the culture. The currency is the euro, and the official languages are Maltese and English, and so this makes everything much easier for travellers. All right, let's start with some important points on entering Malta, because the rules are changing from October this year. For EU citizens, getting into Malta is pretty straightforward since it's in the Schengen zone, and so the new rules won't apply. However, if you're British, American, or from any other non-EU country, you will need to follow the new rules of the EES, or the entry-exit system. This new system essentially replaces passport stamping, and you'll need to have your biometrics captured at the border. In addition, if you are from a country which presently requires a visa to visit Malta, you'll also need to apply for the ETIAS before you travel, and this entails a small fee, somewhere around €20. Website links regarding the new rules are in the description. In all cases, ensure your passport is valid for at least 3 months after your departure date. Very important. Okay, so now you're in Malta, and so how do you get around the islands? Well, Malta doesn't have trains, and so you can either use the buses or rent a car. To get the best out of your holiday, you'll need to hop on some ferries too. First off, public transport is very affordable in Malta. Bolt and Uber are both popular taxi choices, but Bolt seems to have better coverage and lower prices. Tourists can save money on the buses and ferries by applying for various travel cards, including the Explore Adult or Explore Flex cards. These cards offer great value, and most can be purchased at the airport or from various retail outlets. You can learn more at the Malta Public Transport website, and their link is in the description. What about renting a car? Look, if it's your first time visiting Malta, I'd say maybe think twice unless you're a super confident driver. No big deal for the Brits, but for Americans and most Europeans, remember that you'll have to drive on the left, and with many roads being narrow, congested and bumpy, your stress levels might go off the charts. You'll also find parking is a nightmare, especially around places like Valletta, Slima and other hotspots, but a car can be great if you want total freedom to explore the quieter parts and hidden beaches, especially on Gozo. Speed limits are low. 40 kilometers per hour in towns and 60 kilometers per hour outside. There are also a fair number of speed cameras, so watch out for them too. But for most people, a mix of buses and the occasional Bolt is good enough and is just way less stressful. Let's move on to the weather, and with over 300 days of sunshine a year, there's never really a bad time to visit. In the high season, that's June, July and August, you're going to get the hottest weather with temperatures often around the mid-30s in Celsius or around 95 to 100 in Fahrenheit. You'll also have the biggest crowds and the highest prices too. If you want to experience many of the amazing village festas, then summer is the season for that. The low season is from November to March, and you'll still see lots of sunshine, but it's obviously cooler and a little wetter and windier, but also much quieter and with lower prices. If you're looking for a compromise, the real sweet spot is the shoulder season. So that's April, May, September and October. The weather is pretty much perfect. It's just about warm enough to swim, and the crowds are way more manageable. Okay, let's move on to where you should stay, what foods to try, and what you should see and do, which will make your trip unforgettable. Finding your Maltese holiday base is all about what you want out of your trip. Valletta is perfect for history buffs and culture seekers. Boutique hotels, luxury stays, and stylish guest houses line the narrow streets. Of course, prices are on the higher side, especially from June through to September, so it's best to book ahead of time for the best deals. Slima and St Julian's are neighbouring seaside towns and are tourist favourites for a reason, with nice swimming spots, lively cafes, good shops and easy public transport. Patcherville are especially popular among the younger people. It's atmospheric and packed with bars and clubs. A heads up about Patcherville, because here you may come across some gentlemen's clubs, so keep an eye out on signage if that's not your scene. Yes, Malta's vibe can be as wild or as laid back as you want it to be. Slima and St Julian's also have many hotels as well as budget hostels and stylish penthouses. Melliha and the north of Malta gives you the island's best sandy beach and relaxed vibe. This is the spot for families and sun seekers who want to spend most of their vacation on the sand or walking the scenic countryside. Gozo is the place if you want peace and golden hills with more of a rural vibe. Best suited for nature lovers, hikers, or anyone seeking a slower pace. There are beautiful farmhouses, guest houses, and boutique hotels. The three cities just across from Valletta consists of historic port towns, Vittoriosa, Senglia, and Cospicua, and are quieter and more affordable than Valletta. Old world charm with winding lanes, waterfront views, and of course, easy ferry access to the capital. Next up is food. You cannot, and I am not kidding, you cannot go to Malta without eating pastizi. They're these flaky, delicious pastries filled with either ricotta cheese or mushy peas, and they are the number one local snack. But don't stop there. You have to also try ftira, which is this incredible traditional Maltese sandwich with Mediterranean fillings like tuna, tomatoes, onions, capers, and olives. Or in gozo, it can be a pizza-like dish with various toppings. Another must-have is the hobsbis zait, Malta's signature street food, which is rustic bread, tomato paste or puree, olive oil, tuna, capers and olives. Simply delicious. And so too is the Maltese baked macaroni. The national dish is a rich rabbit stew, and it seems Mjar is the place to be if you want the best reviewed dish. And best of all, and my absolute personal favourite, is the infamous Maltese ravioli. And of course, you've got to wash it all down with a local Sisk beer or the very unique bittersweet soft drink called Kinney. I also recommend trying out the various types of Maltese cakes and biscuits. Don't worry about the calories, you're on holiday. A few tips for when you're dining out. Firstly, I'd definitely book a table in advance for the most popular spots, especially on the weekends and during peak season. And make sure you show up hungry, because the portion sizes in Malta are famously huge. The Maltese certainly do love their food. Secondly, a quick heads up on the service, because sometimes it can feel a little direct, but that's just a cultural thing and it isn't them being rude. Thirdly, service tips aren't mandatory, but a 10% tip is always appreciated by the hard-working staff. As mentioned earlier, if you're in Malta during the summer, you are almost guaranteed to run into a festa. Basically, every village takes a week to celebrate its patron saint, and it becomes very crowded and noisy with a massive party. We're talking about fireworks nearly every night, marching bands parading through the streets, and incredible decorations everywhere. It's loud, it's joyful, and it's an amazing way to see local life up close. You'll also find many summer festivals in Malta, and so there is this incredibly vibrant and joyful vibe across the island. You'll find that Maltese people are just incredibly warm and friendly. And so in return, be sure to respect their local customs. For example, when you visit one of their beautiful churches, just remember to dress modestly. With so much history and natural beauty packed into this tiny country, you may want a plan to help maximise your stay. And so let's look at the spots you absolutely cannot miss. You've got the grand capital Valletta with its mind-blowing cathedral and gardens. Then there's the ancient walled city of Mdina, locally known as the Silent City. You can hop on a quick ferry to the historic Three Cities or go see the famous Sunday fish market in the colourful village of Marsaxlokk. Oh, and history buffs, get this, the megalithic temples are older than Stonehenge. And for something completely different and a lot of fun, there's the quirky film set of Popeye Village. Yes, it's a bit dated, but it's still worth a visit. If you're looking for beaches, some of the best include the Golden Bay, the sandy Mellieher Bay, Ein Tufi Ha, or the Wild Dingley Cliffs for lovely sunsets. Now, a trip to Malta isn't complete without some island hopping. You can head to Gozo for a total change of pace. It's greener, more rural, and perfect for a day of just relaxing, hiking, and exploring. But if your goal is for an unforgettable swim, you go to the tiny island of Camino. It is famous for one thing above all else, and that's its turquoise water of the Blue Lagoon. Next up is a couple of itineraries. We'll start with the 3-day classic Malta itinerary. Day 1, Valletta and the Three Cities. Explore St John's Co-Cathedral, the Upper Baraka Gardens, try and catch the noon cannon, and the Grand Master's Palace. Grab a ferry to the Three Cities for a taste of Malta's ancient fortifications and a sunset stroll. Day 2, Gozo and Camino. Early morning ferry to Gozo. Visit the Citadel in Victoria, Ramla Bay and Tarpinu Basilica. Optionally, take a boat trip to the Blue Lagoon in Camino if the weather allows. Day 3, Mdina and central Malta. Tour Mdina and walk the walls for panoramic countryside views. Head to Rabat for St Paul's Catacombs and sample fresh pastizzi. Wrap up at the Dingley Cliffs for a stunning sunset. Want to extend it to a 5-day itinerary? Simply mix in Marsaxlokk's Sunday market with a fish lunch, a lazy day at Mellieher or Golden Bay, add a trip to the megalithic temples and squeeze in the famous Blue Grotto. For nightlife and or a food tour, you'll want to visit Sliema and St Julian's too. Okay, let's move on to some essential details, the stuff that's going to make your trip smooth, safe and totally stress-free. This is the info you'll be really glad you knew before you left home. When it comes to budget, here's some great news. Malta offers fantastic value, especially compared to a lot of other places in Western Europe. For a basic daily budget, aim for about €60 to €120 per person. Staying in Valletta or Gozo can cost more in peak season, so be aware of that. If you can cook a bit, use buses, and enjoy street food, you can get away with a lower budget. Credit cards are widely accepted, but it's still handy to have a few euros in cash for small shops or remote areas. Note that the sun is intense in Malta during the summer, and so you'll want to seek the shade where possible during the midday sun. While the tap water is technically safe to drink, it's desalinated and has a bit of a taste, so pretty much everyone, locals included, prefers to drink bottled water. And finally, a couple of must-haves for your suitcase. One of the most important things to pack is a UK-style plug adapter, Type G, the one with the 3 rectangular pins. I'd also recommend a pair of water shoes because a lot of Malta's beaches are rocky and not sandy.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out our website if you're looking for more information and resources about relocating to Malta, or if you want to book a video consultation or purchase one of our handy ebook guides. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.